Well, it was an ugly start to the game for the Raptors. They were down 10-0 to start the game, and it kind of felt like this was another one that was going to be over relatively quickly. It especially felt that way when the Magic led 32-11 and led 37-24 at the end of the first quarter. But the Raptors pulled it all the way back, and it turned into a blowout win for themselves. 109-93 win over the Orlando Magic. Let's break it down in tonight's post-game show. A good showcase of resiliency that I wasn't quite sure the Raptors had. When they were down big, it was like there was really no excuse for it. Orlando are missing a ton of guys through injuries. I know the Orlando Magic have a good record, but they have not had a good record as of late. Since Banchero's come back, honestly, they've struggled. They're running out of gas. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. A lot of guys been missing. They had 3 blowout losses in a row, though. 3 blowout losses in a row. 1 to Denver, 1 to Boston, 1 to Milwaukee. They beat Philly, but also lost to Milwaukee, Minnesota. Beat New York, but lost to Jazz. So 6 losses in the last 8 games. And before that 8-game stretch, they blew out the Raptors. I know they only lost by 9. They only won by 9 against the Raptors, but they blew them out. The Raptors made that look better late. So definitely a game where the Raptors should have been competitive and weren't early. And the big problem, again, was over-helping, over-doubling, leaving shooters open, and Orlando took full advantage. Well, thankfully, that was recognized by the coaches after the first quarter, and it was amended. It was adjusted, and the Raptors were so much better defending for the rest of the game. I mean, they allowed 37 points in the first quarter, but then only 13 in the second, 20 in the third, and 23 in the fourth, including garbage time. Now, you could argue a good coach or a better coach would have figured that out pregame and not had such a bad start to the game, but at least it was resolved during the game, and I will give credit for that happening and putting together this great offensive performance for the Raptors to win, again, 109-93. If you enjoyed what you see from tonight's postgame show, make sure you do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well for more Raptors content just like this. If you're watching on the main channel, we're 9 subs away from 18K. If you're watching on the Reactions channel, help us grow to hit the next milestone, 3,000 subs over there. But we keep on going here. Are we at 2K yet? It's either 2 or 3. Whatever it is, help us get to the milestone over there. There was a big shift in the demeanor for the second quarter, and I think the defense really helped start that. But the bench came in and made a big difference for the Raptors. What a strangely just insane game from Kelly Olynyk. He struggled a lot this season. At times he had some issues today, but overall, plus 39 for Kelly Olynyk tonight. 4 blocks out of nowhere. He has looked cooked this season, but man, he was the one cooking tonight. He did have 5 turnovers, but plus 39 for him. Limited minutes for Boucher. He went plus 17. I mean, plus minus isn't a perfect stat, and this kind of shows it. I'm not sure Kelly Olynyk was good enough to be plus 9, but he was good. Jamal Shea was plus 19 and felt it. Walter was plus 12, didn't really feel it. Bruce Brown plus 7, didn't really feel it. Boucher plus 17, didn't really feel it. But where you do feel a lot of impact today was Barnes. And this was a do-it-all Barnes game. Plus 21 from tonight, 17 points, 8 assists, 11 rebounds, 6 of 13 shooting, and took it upon himself to really dig in defensively one-on-one against Banchero. Been a tough couple of games for Barnes defensively, like difficult games, because single coverage against Giannis last game, single coverage against Banchero today. And even though they both put up good numbers, Banchero went 10 of 19 with 26 points, 12 rebounds, Barnes held his own. Banchero turned the ball over 5 times, and it wasn't as if they had everything that they wanted. And it seemed like he was giving impact there. And you didn't, in that case, have to overhelp in those scenarios and double him. You could allow Barnes to play that straight up so you could defend other guys. Now, maybe against Giannis, you probably should have sent maybe a little bit more extra help, but today maybe not quite as necessary, especially with not a lot of help around Banchero given all the injuries. RJ Barrett kind of piled on some points in the fourth quarter, but he had a great impactful game, as did Grady Dick, 17 points for him and was great in the second half. Struggles defensively still, and That's got to improve, but we're still seeing good progression on offense. David Mitchell's defense, we know it's always there. Pirtle, you see the minus 26 today. Just a bad matchup for him with all the injuries here, specifically Goga. The Magic played a lot of small ball today, and it just put Pirtle in these horrible situations defensively. Like, most of that minus 26 comes from the first quarter, first half, where he was getting switched on, and he's not a perimeter defender. We know that, so not the greatest of matchups for him, but we were able to adjust out of it. Ultimately, the game comes down to this. The Magic clogged the paint in the first quarter. The Raptors couldn't score. Horrible efficiency by both teams. Now, that efficiency maintained for Orlando throughout the whole game. They go 41% from the field, 29% for three. But the Raptors explode from three and eventually just wear this team away and then start to show it on twos as well. Raptors go 53% from the field, 52% from three. They lose the possession battle with offensive rebounds, 14-5. Make up for it a little bit with turnovers, but they were just way too efficient today. The shooting was the catalyst to get them going, and then eventually Orlando ran out of gas. Raptors had more rest here, 3 days of rest. That Milwaukee game that they lost, they got blown out last game, was their 6th game in 9 days, so they were fatigued. They looked it, but here they looked fresh, and they come away with a much-deserved victory in the end. Great resiliency again. The Raptors were down 21 in this game. Ended up being up by 22 at one point. So they don't die here. This team is not prepared to lay down and tank. It's even been brought up in press conferences. I think it was R.J. Barrett talking about it. Like, they are out there to win every game, and this is further proof of that. Raptors have the easiest schedule remaining in the NBA, and they have a pretty good run of games coming up. Atlanta is a good team, and it's 2 away games where the Raptors have only 1 win all season, so it won't be easy, but it's winnable. Then it's 3 very winnable games at home against New Orleans. We're getting healthier, so maybe not as winnable. But then away at Washington, Raptors should be favored even away from home in that game. And home against Chicago, which I think they might be favored as well. It's been a good run of games, man. Like, they were competitive against Cleveland. They were competitive against Detroit up to the end, both games. They beat Golden State. They blew out Boston. 6th game in 9 days. Didn't seem up for it. Bad game for sure. But good bounce back here in Toronto. Things are moving in the right direction. It's far too late to save this season. We're 2.5 weeks away from the deadline, but we're like 2 weeks away from the deadline. Not even 2.5 weeks away from the deadline. So I don't think like this season's worth saving or can be saved, but I'm definitely enjoying the better basketball as of late. And the players still going to try and win. Coaching's been better lately. Players been better lately. Let's just keep the good vibes going and just see where we can go in the next little bit, the next little stretch. And we'll be covering all of it wherever you're watching right now. We'll have more content just like this. Drop a like if you enjoy. Subscribe for more content just like it. We'll see you again next time for more as the Raptors take on the Atlanta Hawks on Thursday.